this is Niche Astrology Takes. My name is Liz, and these are my Niche Astrology Takes. The point of this channel is to have just sort of open-ended, short discussions about topics I find interesting in astrology, predominantly Western astrology, that I don't really see happening anywhere else, or if I do see them happening somewhere else, they're like 3-hour webinars that don't feel super accessible to like everyday, people. So today what I wanted to talk about was the two planets that are considered the rulers of the sign of Aquarius, which are Saturn and Uranus. The reason I wanted to talk about these two planets is because they either just have or are right about to change signs depending on when you're watching this. So I'm filming this on July 3rd. As it stands, about a month or two ago, Saturn shifted from Pisces into Aries, and on Monday, I believe, Uranus will be shifting from Taurus into Gemini. So this is significant because these are considered outer planets, which means they take more than a year to change signs. So this is making for a really interesting spring because Saturn was the ancient ruling planet of Aquarius. So before modern telescopes were invented, Saturn was the furthest planet that could be seen with the naked human eye. So that was kind of like the OG Pluto. It was considered far away, cold, distant. It represents a boundary because at the time that was considered the furthest planet away, or it's understood to be the furthest planet away. So that was kind of where the universe ended to the naked eye. And that kind of theme can apply in our daily lives because Saturn is usually dealing with things that take time to develop, boundaries, rules, obstacles, things that are kind of slowing you down, but in order to deepen something. And I would say things that are Saturnian would maybe be like old age, teeth. Your teeth you lose your teeth and they grow back in, and it's kind of like this process. Saturn's very process oriented. Structures, old buildings, very Saturnian. Grandparents, very Saturnian. They've been a while. They were your parents' parent. Now they're your grandparent. They have a lot of lessons to teach you. Those are just a few things. That's not an exhaustive list by any stretch of the imagination. Uranus, on the other hand, is right there in between Saturn and Pluto. And what Uranus typically deals with, as we understand it, is like sudden changes, shock, advancements in technology, new inventions, science, discoveries, things like that. So I think it's really cool that both of Aquarius's ruling planets have changed signs because, well, like I said, Saturn changed from Pisces to Aries. Uranus is changing from Taurus to Gemini. So why is this going to be so fun for us? For us people who are either Aquariuses ourselves, sun, moon, rising, or have strong signatures of Aquarius in their charts. So maybe you're a Pisces, but you have Venus or Mars or Aquarius, or, any sign really. But if you're a Pisces or a Capricorn, it's very likely you have at least one Aquarius planet, because we are neighboring signs. But everyone has Aquarius somewhere in their chart. So I'm super excited about this because Saturn was in a water sign. It was in Pisces. That's the last sign of the zodiac. It's at the end of its life cycle, and then Aries is kind of considered like the newborn energy, like a screaming baby coming out of the womb. So that's a very kind of like jump scare energy going from Pisces to Aries, but it's also a relief because it's just like all this new energy comes in. The Saturn, like being in Aries, not really. It's like trying to establish a bedtime with a baby. Like, I'll just keep using the newborn example for that. It's like, your baby's born, and then it's just kind of like screaming and crying and pooping all the time, and you're trying to get it onto a schedule, you're trying to establish a routine, you're trying to, you know, make some kind of normalcy out of it, but it's like this newborn thing. It's like this glob of life, and it doesn't want to do that. It's new here. It's never been on Earth before, depending on your perspective on reincarnation. But and then same thing goes for Uranus. It's been in Taurus. Uranus is this very shocking planet, and it's been in the sign of Taurus, which is very slow moving. People say stubborn. I think Taurus is very purposeful. It's kind of like hardworking and lazy. Taurus. It's represented by the bull. So this sign that deals with all these changes, being in a this planet that deals with all these changing things, being in a very stable sign, doesn't really go together. But now Uranus is going to be in Gemini, which is very inventive and goes right with the themes of Uranus. So they'll actually go hand in hand together very well. I think we can expect life and society to move forward way more quickly in the next 7 years than it has in the last 7 years, which is how long it takes for Uranus to change signs. Saturn changes signs fully about like every 2 to 2.5 years. So what does this mean for Aquarius? Well, just first of all, just a lot of new energy. A lot of new energy, a lot more speed, a lot more fire, a lot more oomph, a lot more energy. Like Pisces and Taurus, no shade, just tea. These are very fertile signs. So hopefully if you're an Aquarian or just anybody watching this, you've probably spent a lot of the last few years just sort of like coming up with plans and dreams and hopefully laying some kind of foundations or having foundations shaken up by events around you. And what we're moving into now, give or take like a little bit of some, I think both are going to retrograde back into the planet that they're leaving briefly before they fully transition into the next sign. But we're definitely going to start to get a taste of like this whole new like, girl, it's going to be going, gone. I feel that we're going to have a lot of flashes of brilliance, genius, insight, a lot of advancements. I think things are going to move a lot quicker than we are used to them moving as of lately. Saturn will be there in Aries, like I said, to check us though. So anything that we're not doing properly will be shown to us very loudly. So it's kind of like a little kid, like learning how to be in the world, and they're at that stage where, you know, you're taking them out, they're walking, you're going to the park. Like, you know, let's say that Uranus and Gemini is like, you're taking your kid to go to cheerleading practice or baseball practice at the park. Saturn and Aries would be like, they're trying to run into the street because they're so excited for their game and they don't look both ways before they cross the street, and they might trip and fall and a car might stop right before it gets to the kid, and it's just like you lose your cool because it's so concerning, and you know, you're screaming at them like, hey, what are you doing? Like, and it's just a whole thing, because it's like there's so much excitement and there's so much energy that naturally it's going to get checked a little bit. But personally, I don't want to let that stop me from being excited, you know, because again, Saturn, it's not like a destroyer. It's just something that kind of like, hey, okay, bring it back in. Yeah, so I also think on the subject of children that like children's rights will undergo maybe some kind of transformation, because like I said, Aries rules infancy and Gemini rules early childhood education and learning. So I think that maybe the way kids experience the world is going to be changing in some kind of way, but in like a new way. I don't know. I'm very interested to see, because also Pluto has changed signs this year. Neptune has changed signs this year. I mean, guys, nearly every single outer planet has changed signs this year. Jupiter has gone into Cancer. Like, we are just so much on the brink of something, and we have like one foot in the old world, one foot in the new world, And we're going to kind of be continuing to teeter this line for a little bit of time. Pluto's not going back into Capricorn. Pluto's in Aquarius, by the way, so even more relevant for us is just like, don't be afraid, just dream big. If you're watching this and you have strong Aquarius placements, like, just dream big. Dream big, go for it. Know that there are going to be like hard checks. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be comfortable. It's going to be weird. I mean, but I think we're going to have a lot of energy behind us because, you know, Saturn in Pisces and Uranus in Taurus, those are water and earth signs, like I said, very fertile, but those signs are next to and square to us. So it's probably been a very interesting time, probably been a very introspective time, probably been pretty difficult, if I'm being honest. Not always the easiest. And I think I heard another astrologer say that, I believe it was like Adam Ellenboss, he was saying that things could start moving so fast that it could just like make up for the last 7 years. Like if you felt like things were moving slow for the last 7 years, or that like you couldn't get much progress made, that Uranus and Gemini might just make up, and things might be moving so fast it just makes up for that whole time period. It's like things happen twice as fast as they normally would. And you know, Uranus and Gemini, Uranus is one of our ruling planets that trines us in Gemini because those are both air signs. All the signs of the same element trine each other, which is a supportive aspect, which means you don't really have to work for it. It just happens naturally. Saturn in Aries, that sextiles us, which is also a supportive aspect that you have to work a little bit harder for. So all the air signs sextile all the fire signs, except Aquarius and Leo oppose each other. So we're moving into wild times, but it's wild times that are favorable for us. And with Pluto and Aquarius, I mean, that can go a lot of ways. That's going to have like 20 years or so to unfold and see how that goes. It's going to affect everyone differently because Pluto changes things, and like, you know, it's kind of like the nothing was the same energy. But depending on what degree your Aquarius placements are and what kind of Aquarius placements you have and what condition they're already in, you know, we'll see how the Pluto does us all. But I think we have like a lot of the elements on our side, and we have a lot of tools in our pocket now that we didn't really have before. So I think we can move through things a lot more quickly. I mean, hold on to your seat, hold on to your pants. Like, it's gonna be fun though. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to come on here and sort of, even as just sort of like a video journal entry. You know, I'm sitting here in a park. Like, I had work this morning, got done early. It's my roommate's birthday. I went, I grabbed her like a little treat. I left her a card this morning, and then I just had some time to kill because my next thing isn't until noon. So I just found a random park in this area. I'm in Burbank, California, and I just found a park to walk around, try to get my steps in. And then I was thinking about this, and I sat down and I was like, hey, I haven't made a niche astrology take video in like a month. What am I doing? And so I just sat down and I'm just doing this with no notes, and I feel like Saturn in Aries and Uranus in Gemini, it's very like, this is off the cuff, no notes. So yeah, there will be periods where we need to go in and refine, like when the inner planets are kind of in those more introspective yin signs, like Taurus, like Pisces, like Cancer, what else, you know, like Capricorn. We will have these periods of time where we do go within and we kind of edit and reflect. And of course there'll be retrogrades back into the signs they came from at first. But overall, another message that I got from someone lately was that I need to be dreaming even bigger and asking for even more from the universe. And when they told me that, I was like, you know, if that's the message that I'm getting from this reading, like, I don't even know what to ask for, because I already feel like I'm asking the universe for a lot, or it feels like a lot, because I don't see how I can get to what I'm asking for as it is from where I'm at without help from the universe. So like, they want me to ask for even more? Like, I don't even know what that looks like. So Gemini goes into, Uranus goes into Gemini on Monday. So I think for the next couple days, I need to think more about what, if time had no limit, if money weren't an object, what would I be doing, or who would I be? And maybe that's something you guys could think about too. Okay, thanks for watching Niche Astrology Takes. See you later.